Hey y'all, it's Rhegis from themoresmansionblog.com. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. So last summer, my husband and we bought a shed from Costco. And when you have a shed, you have to put down a foundation. And you can do this with lots of different ways, but we wanted to do a concrete base. And because of where it needed to go in our backyard, I decided that I wanted to make it as big as our current patio and try and match the dimensions to extend it and make it look like the two were always there together. Now, for reasons I won't necessarily get into in this video, if you want more on how we decided on this process and all of the steps, then I will link that video down below. I also have a blog post that I will link in the description as well. But because of just some extenuating circumstances, we kind of had to float this patio right next to our current patio from our house, but we still had it backed up against the brick of our house. And we decided to use a method called dry pouring for how to lay this concrete foundation. And I have gotten questions all throughout this past fall and winter and now into spring, how it's holding up, would I do it again? All of these different questions, and basically people are wanting to try this project and want an update, and so that's what I'm going to do for you today. So we did this project about right around exactly 10 months ago, last June, and I'm actually was planning to do an update at the year mark, but I decided to go ahead and do the video because I've gotten a couple more comments on my blog post recently saying, did this hold up? Because people want to try it for their various different needs, whether it be your own shed, or you want to have a patio in the backyard. I've even had people ask me if it will work for a chicken coop, and I think that's a great idea. So how is it holding up is probably the biggest question on people's minds. So it is holding up beautifully. That is the best thing that I can report. If I take you outside, you'll see that it is very similar to right after I stenciled it last summer. I kind of had a 3-part series with this concrete pad. First, when we actually did the DIY and all of the prep work, and then kind of how it was looking right after. And then I did a video where I stenciled it just like I did my front porch. And then when we added our shed and kind of how we organized that, and then how it was still holding up those many weeks later. And so now 10 months later, it looks almost exactly the same. There isn't any cracks or dings or chips in it, other than there's one area where we did have, I think, a small crack from just when we were doing one of the soakings. The water pressure kind of blasted through the crust before the misting or the soaking could cure it completely. So that crack has grown slightly larger. And then there were a couple of other areas that were already kind of formed as the crust was curing, and happened before it was fully cured, but then couldn't be reversed once the surface was starting to harden. Another question I get is there anything I would do differently? I think the only thing that I would do differently is I might have made it a tad bit bigger. We were kind of nervous as to how it would be this, in the future and how it would hold up. The main purpose was just for the shed. The only reason I extended it is because of where it needed to go in our backyard with being right up against the house. I wanted to put that shed like toward the back of our yard or even by our AC, and we decided to put it up against the house so that it could be the most supported and also kind of the most hidden from like the front view of the house. And I do think that I would have butted it up against the current concrete pad that we have. My husband was nervous about butting them together because in his research, the tools needed to make that last long term we didn't have and didn't really want to purchase at the time. You kind of needed to use a very long drill bit to drill into the existing foundation and then secure long rebar poles and put those into your dry pour bed that you were doing to connect them and make them strong and kind of be able to wear evenly over time. But since it's worn so well and it was a DIY project, I definitely think I would have made it look a little more uniform and like we were just extending the patio if I had just maybe pushed a little more. So if we were able to go back and do that, knowing what we know about how it was holding up, I think I would have done that. So if you have the opportunity to use it for a big patio in your backyard, I say don't go like huge. Like you probably don't want to lay a whole crazy big foundation, but I think you could do a very large sizable patio to where you can have, maybe like an outdoor kitchen and a seating area, a dining table and a seating area, and still be able to make it work very well and have it be very sturdy. And probably another big thing is people were wondering how the paint lasted on the stenciling job that I did. So once again, the stencil looks just like it did when I did it before. This Valspar porch and patio paint is so durable and it just absorbs into that concrete. You don't need a primer. You don't need a sealer. I didn't seal either of these spaces when I stenciled them, but I did prime them because I used that as like my grout color for under the brick pattern. And I think it went a long way in making this concrete pad cuter than just being, boring old concrete. And the best thing is if I don't like it or if it's just not holding up, I can paint over it and it will still look good. Finally, I think the other question I get the most is, would I do this again? And I absolutely would if we had another spot where we needed a concrete pad, possibly if we needed to do some concrete steps. I think if I was doing anything differently, it would still require, more research, talking to some experts, and just making triple sure that all of the things that we were going to do, all of the processes that we were going to do, were the best ways to do it on, for an at-home DIY job, or if it's really something that we should let a professional do. We were pretty confident after doing all of our research about this and after I made a video and a blog post, because I don't want to put out things that are unsafe. I just want to share our experiences. I am no building or foundation or concrete expert. So take all of what I'm saying with a grain of salt. I'm just sharing our experiences. I think if you want to give this a try for yourself, you absolutely should. Ours is holding up really, really well. It has been snowed on, rained on, hailed on. It has tools going across it constantly from mowing the lawn or, bringing DIY project tools in and out. The dogs run on it. The kids run on it. The kids' friends run on it. We walk across it. My dog has dug around the foundation and nothing has really happened to it except for that one extra little crack. Then I don't see any difference in the concrete pad from now to last June. So this was the pad about a week after we originally poured it. There was this one large crack, and then apart from some like water dimples, and then this larger kind of knotted crack. And this was right after I stenciled the pad. And then this looks like the next day, but this is 10 months later. This I took today, and the only thing that I'm noticing that has changed apart from maybe the color has faded on the painting is there is another small crack in the concrete right here. I don't know where this one came from or if it was a small crack that has just kind of potentially gotten larger over the last year. So I will keep an update on that for maybe a second year update, but this is the original biggest crack that we had, and it doesn't look any bigger to me looking back at that footage. And as you can see, the dogs were very excited for me to be out there. June, and I really didn't see any point in waiting 2 months for the update since it is such nice weather. And if you want to do a DIY like this, I thought I'll go ahead and get this video out so that people can have reassurance that it is definitely worth doing. It's worth the money and the time to do it yourself if you need something like this for your space. So comment down below if this was helpful or if you have done this project yourself, if you have any thoughts, anything I missed. Let me know. Don't forget to like this video, hit the bell notification so you never miss an upload, and subscribe. And thank you so much for stopping by the mansion. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.